Okay, so today we're just going to talk about a very important topic, which is about the senses. So for most people, what the senses mean is they mean hear, see, taste, feel, and smell. Some people, I think most people would agree, there's a sixth sense of just kind of energy, you just kind of know, you just kind of feel things. We don't really know what that's about, science-wise, anyways. But at the very least, 5 senses, most people can agree. So, the senses are very important in recovery. And specifically are very important when recovery is plateaued. I don't know how to spell that, but I'm just going to go look up. Plateaued recovery. Plateaued recovery means when recovery has slowed. So lots of people, if recovery is like a mountain, they kind of, there's like a mountain. They're climbing up. They're going up, and then they just stop growing. Up, stop. They're walking, but they're not gaining any elevation. So that's called plateau. Upar jana par koi progress nahi. So that's called plateau. We see that a lot. And the reality is, in recovery, I say this a lot, is it's like going up a mountain. Either you're walking up and you know you're walking up, or you're sliding down. No one stays still in recovery because stress goes up in time. Life gets more complex. People, I remember when I was in medical school, I thought, life is going to be so much easier when I'm independent doctor in the community. Do you think my life got easier? Do you think my life became easier after I graduated? Some aspects did, but a whole bunch of things got... Suddenly I didn't have anyone checking my notes. Suddenly I was the one standing between people and death. I didn't have nobody with me. I didn't have no other doctors who were helping me make these really hard calls, these decisions. It was difficult. So, in one way, yeah, I got, master of my own schedule, but my life increased in complexity, and with more complex life comes more stress. And so, to deal with the stress, you have to grow. So if you stop growing, stress never stops growing. So either you're growing at the rate of stress, or faster, or you're slower. If you're slower, you're not plateaued, you're actually kind of going down. So that's why I say, you're either walking up the mountain, but it's a slippery mountain. You stop walking, you start sliding. So we always have to grow. Doesn't matter if you're a psychologist, doesn't matter if you're a therapist, doesn't matter if you're a person in recovery, doesn't matter if you're drug addict, criminal, whatever. Male, female, everyone has to grow. So today the question is what happens that makes people stop growing? Despite going to the meetings, despite meditating, despite going to therapists and doing all the right things, what makes people not grow? That's common. Doing all the right things, but something's not working. And There's many answers to that, but I'm going to just give one today, which has to do with the senses. And there's a principle that, so most people, they think they consume with their mouth only. So if I eat a donut, right? So, donut. जिमें donut खाता है, donut. I eat a donut. I have about 20 minutes from eating it to vomit it out. Jeeb de hath la ke vomit karna. You can vomit things out. I shouldn't tell you that, but you probably know it. So you have about 20 minutes. What happens after the 20 minutes is gone? What happens? Digestion. Is there any taking back the donut? So, you have 20 minutes during which a decision to get it out of you could be made. After that, it enters digestion. And then your body will consume it. So, imagine, what's the difference if it's broccoli? So, koi vadiya, like vegetable or dal or something, right? What's the difference between these two and donut? What do you think?
Health-wise, the two are good for you, the donut's not.
Okay, so health-wise, donut, dal, they're different. Like the donut's not so good. What else?
Dal is light.
Dal is light.
Yeah.
Donut is?
That's so heavy because
It's heavy.
it's bread.
So that's a good way to say it. Heavy and light. Heavy meaning, heavy lifting meaning, digestion takes more energy. More energy, there's more waste, because you can't use most of a donut, right? It's just sugar. You need sugar, but there's a limit to how much sugar you need at any given time. So it's more waste. It's a load on the system. Whereas a broccoli, same thing, 20 minutes, digestion. But the digestion is lighter. It adds value. They both add some degree of value, but the broccoli will add probably more value. Unless you're like starving. If you're starving, if you don't have any food, a donut's probably better, but it's unlikely you'll have a donut. It's kind of like, what was that, like French lady, I think she said before the revolution, the peasants are starving, the peasants are starving. Let them eat cake. You remember that? I can't remember the lady's name. Huh?
Marie Antoinette.
That sounds like someone who got the guillotine. I suspect that was the one. It was someone, I can't remember. But the point is, it was somebody, and what she meant to say was, I don't care. That's why the French Revolution happened. So, there's a difference between broccoli and donut. Both get digested. One is heavier, one is lighter. And ultimately, one will promote health, and the other will demote health. One will promote health, one will demote health. So, most people understand this. You guys understand this? It's kind of like, it's like grade 4 kind of stuff. It's intuitive. Anyone over the age of like 6 or 7 generally starts to understand that some things are good for them, some things are not. But a 4-year-old won't. A 4-year-old, the sweeter the better. They don't actually like broccoli. It's a bit of a joke. You have to play games with them. I have to play with my nephew. Laser. Teacher, broccoli, you're gonna be protected by lasers. And he eats the broccoli, so, or whatever it is. So so now here's what I'm trying to tell you. Plateaued recovery has everything to do with this, because you digest with all the senses. This is physical. In the mouth, out the end, all that, right? This is physical. And you think, hey, I just heard that rock song about what? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll? No, what is it? Sex.
Yes, it's very
Yeah, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? Pretty good beats, right? Hotel California. Great music. Let's be honest, that's great music. At least it's emotionally, what is it? What makes us say that's great music? What makes that song last? And the answer is, it's keyed in to our psyche. So let's say you hear and you make a habit of listening to highly foul music. I used to swear like a sailor. Every second word out of my mouth was a swear word. In med school, I was playing table tennis, and F-bomb, 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 F. It was weird. But the thing is when you listen to things, you don't think about it this way, but you need to start thinking about it this way, is that what you listen to can never be unheard again. Now your mind, tada dimag, ek wari gal sun ke, ਉਹ ਕਮਾਉਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ. It has to digest. Our mind consumes our senses. Every sense gets consumed by the mind. And so if you're doing all the right things, but you're stuck in your recovery, a lot of times I find, I remember there was a person I was seeing for therapy. This is like COVID, right? Virtual. On the back was like, I can't remember the name of the poster, but it was like, there's no such thing as happiness. And I'm like, why are you coming to therapy? Like, you're consuming this negative thing every day. It's right across from your bed. What the heck's the point of coming to me? Because I'm only there for an hour. मैं उते 1 घंटा वास्ते हैगा. A lady ओदे poster ते हैगा, no खुशी नहीं हैगी कोई. And she's looking at it every day. Hours and hours spent in that room with this poster. And she thinks, oh, it's just a poster. It's funny. Because it was a joke. Hassasiga. But that's not how the brain communicates. The brain will hear, it'll hear a single word, and it could be murder is illegal. Okay? So murder is illegal, okay? Let's say you meditated on, I think we'd all agree, murder is illegal. That's a true statement. I guarantee you, if you meditated on that for 20 minutes, do you think that would put you on a good headspace or a negative headspace?
Definitely. Good, if you're saying, because it's a positive affirmation, like it's illegal, that would be the truth.
And yeah, how many people agree with that? Hands up. How many people think that it would actually make you feel bad? A bunch of people in the middle. It's because it's a very common thought, and it's how most of you think. Murder is illegal is a true statement, but your mind, when it consumes it, it digests it. Murder is illegal. So each word gets digested separately.
Like Google.
And as a result, murder. It's a low energy word. The more you listen to it, the more you say it, it'll bring you down lower and lower and lower. Even though the whole thing is true, but the brain does not consume information that way. The brain consumes every letter and every sound independently. It combines them, but the more negative stuff is in your communication. This is why sarcastic jokes. You ever see sarcastic jokes? Has anyone been in a relationship with someone who always was sarcastic all the time? Yeah. Yeah, or been that person, right? The reality is maybe those jokes are funny, but something's missing. Something's negative. Maybe those jokes are even true. But the brain consumes them. I told someone the other day that I gave him feedback. This thing wasn't done ideally. There was something could be done better. But the person hears, I'm bad. I'm wrong, so that means I'm bad. And reacts like I'm bad. We have to understand that the brain does not work in one dimension like you think it does. It works in many dimensions all at the same time. The mind is very, very, very sophisticated. Just like your digestive system. You don't realize, but your bones recycle. Every molecule in your bones is moved different. हड्डियां जड़ियां हैगियां हर अंग किते होर जांदा एक साल च. You're remodeling all the time. Your whole body is different cells. Recycled, moved here, there. But when they say you are what you eat, that's actually true. Your body becomes what it eats. So if you eat donuts all the time, you can do that as a young person. But as an old person, you'll have weak bones. You won't walk right. You will have no energy. If you eat heavy things that are hard for you to digest, you will become like that. What I'm trying to tell you is that the same thing goes for seeing things. Okay, I gotta talk about pornography, guys. I have to talk about porno. That's like one of the biggest things. What Punjabi pornography nu ki kehndे? Sex movie. Yeah. So the thing is, you do your prayers, you meditate, you do all these things, but you consume with your eyes. Once you've looked at something, you can never unsee that. Once you've looked at a certain part of someone's body, you can never unsee what you've looked. Because then your mind, even if you close your eyes, it's done. The images are in, the video is in, and now your mind has to digest it. But you've just digested something heavy. Guess what? Pornography is linked into the dopamine system. Guess what's right next to the dopamine system is the opioid system. Guess what that's linked into? That's the alcohol system. Can't get clean from alcohol. Well, you keep stimulating that area, and then the alcohol receptor gets activated, and you start drinking again. Or marijuana or whatever. Hey, here's another one. Shopping. Once you see a new thing in like a window, like my wife does this, she likes to window shop. Or nowadays they window shop, on like the phone, right? Constantly looking. So it's so easy these days. When you look at things like shopping, you're looking at things that you want but perhaps don't need. Oh no, I'm just browsing. But those people aren't dumb. The ones who set up these sites, they know how the mind works. Every new thing that you want kicks off a dopamine hit. Oh, I could have that. And you think once your phone, you end it, your brain is done. It's not done. It continues to grow. Some of those thoughts will grow into cravings. Some of those cravings will go into buying the thing that you don't need. We're a shopping addicted society. And guess what? If you have an issue with alcohol and drugs, well, those receptors are linked right next to the shopping receptor, which is dopamine mostly. You activate that, you're going to activate that. So people get to a period in recovery where they look like they're plateauing. They're not growing faster. And when we start asking why, they're consuming things. They're eating badly. They're eating high sugar things. A lot of times if we go to meetings, right, what are the two things that are always, what's the one thing that's always at like a meeting? Coffee. Coffee without sugar?
No, with everything. Sugar.
I think that meeting would be very unpopular if there was no sugar in that meeting. Would that be true?
I think so.
So the thing is that when you're stimulating the high caffeine, the stimulant, or you're taking the high sugar, we put sugar out here. You guys eat sugar like crazy. I'm like, holy crap, you guys consume a lot of sugar. You have to understand what you're doing. What you're doing is you're stimulating a receptor in your brain that is similar, and that's why it works for cravings. And it works. You want to do drugs, but you eat like a peanut butter or you eat like a candy, it overrides the other thing. It works. It works for a time. But instead of meditating in that moment to deal with that negative experience, instead of breathing through it, instead of doing path or something, doing prayers or something, you go to the easy thing. And that doesn't look like the bad thing, like the drugs and the alcohol or the whatever that is that's got you in trouble. But it keeps it alive. And what that looks like is, so people with plateaued recovery will oftentimes be sober, but they will be unwilling to do deeper work. Things that you feel. You touch something. So I'm touching this coffee mug. It has chai in it. I happen to have an issue with chai. It reminds me of all the good old days. A lot of people, they try to quit cigarettes by just by going to those vapes, but no one ever stops the vapes. Koi nahi vape band karda. Because the stimulation's all the same. So you stop the vapes, but you're addicted to the feeling. You give up alcohol, but you keep the shot glasses. You drink water out of them, but the feeling of the glass. Or whatever I don't know, wine glass, whatever you drink out of, okay? I'm not a big drinker. So, I don't drink at all, actually. But the thing is that you need to look at what you're doing differently. You think, in your mind, I can touch this, and now that I'm not touching that, I'm good. That's not how it works. Your mind continues to subconsciously process the information. Smell, same thing. Smell is very powerful. Every trauma memory has a smell. We remember smells. A lot of times it's the smell of alcohol that makes people go. Right? Is that true? The smell is the worst, isn't it? Because the smell is something that is very, very, it's keyed in very old. It connects to a very deep part of the brain. In fact, smell directly goes to your midbrain. All the other senses, they go through your cortex, they get interpreted, but smell goes right to your midbrain, right into the center of it. It's funny. One thing, the smell can remind you of the taste. You don't even need to taste alcohol. The smell is enough to remind you of the taste. I We have some houses, right? People like to watch like in sober living. People like to watch these videos, like movies. And the movies, there's like fighting and drinking and rock and roll and all the glorious things about drinking and drugging. And they think they turn it off and they think that they're done, but the video keeps playing. I meditate. I watch a movie. It takes me at least a couple of minutes of my meditation. I can feel the whole movie playing, getting crunched in my head, and I think to myself, what a waste of energy. I have the time waste kita. You folks need to evolve your thinking. You're not some animals that just consume and consume and consume. If you wish to be deeper into recovery, you have to start understanding that your mind works in a way. Let's talk about the sixth sense. This kind of goes hand in hand with things like gossip. Number one rule of gossip: if you are hearing gossip from one person, and you're like, oh yeah, he's telling me all the secrets. What do you think that person's doing about you to the other people? With 100% certainty, what do you think has happened? Say it, just shout it out. Agree? Hence the reason why you don't hang out and listen to gossip. If you've listened silently, don't participate, it doesn't matter. You have now got secrets in your head. Now you're going to have to keep those secrets. Otherwise they're going to know that you talked to so-and-so and they said this and that. And that takes energy, folks. That makes your sleep less easy. That makes your stress more. Never hang out with a gossiper. Tell them that. I can't listen to gossip. If you keep gossiping, I'm going to have to go. Oh, I'm not gossiping, I'm just saying the truth. I'm like, yeah, I just can't listen to it. It messes with me. Dr. Gill told me that my mind dwells on this and I have enough problems as it is. But if you're dealing with plateaued recovery, now no one knows what you consume other than you. Sixth sense, energy. You hang out with negative people, what happens to you? What if they're telling the straight truth? They're right in everything that they're saying, but they're negative. What happens to you? You feed off it. That's why I put sixth sense here. Because there's an energetic thing. You are what you eat. You are who you hang out with. That's why in recovery we say, change your friend group, man. You can't hang out with the drug dealer. I know the drug dealer listened to all your stories of heartbreak and your trauma, and God bless that drug dealer for doing that. No, seriously, it's a good service. At least you're not dead of suicide. But the thing is that if you continue to associate with low energy people, or you associate with people in low energy ways, you will become low. One of the two's got to happen, right? High energy, low energy. So the thing is either, if you're in association, either this one comes up or this one goes down. Someone's got to win. It cannot happen that this person stays there, this person stays there. What do you think happens vast majority of the time? What do you think?
Low energy.
Yeah. People ask me all the time, how can you do this work? How can you sort of like listen to all this negativity and all this stuff? How do you think I do it?
Excellent practice.
And here's a tricky question. Can you notice the days when I might not have done my practice?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Because the reality is to bring low energy people up, because that's some of the self-delusion you give to yourself, right? You delude yourself. Oh, no, I'm hanging out. I have to help this person. You delude yourself thinking that this is happening, when the reality is actually you're going down there. And the only way you can pick someone up is having a robust daily practice. So I don't know all the ins and outs. I was telling someone today, I was like, I don't know you. I don't know nothing about you. I might have known, been your therapist for 10 years. I still don't know much about people. I never know. It's not mine to know. I don't want to know all your secrets. That's more energy for me to keep. I want to know the bare minimum I need to know to allow the elevation to happen. That's one tip about how you can be high energy and bring someone up is need to know. Do I ask you about your deepest traumas and secrets? I don't want to know who you killed. I don't want to know who did this or that. It's just stress. What do you people do? Many people. What do they do? Oh, what do they do? Curiosity killed the cat. I like this saying. Curiosity killed the cat. This is true. Curiosity about other people and what's going on, beyond what you need to know, is one of the ways in which you get dragged into low energy. The other aspect is, need to know, and to, okay. And the other act is self-therapy. So I happen to have a self-therapy practice that can sustain the work that I do. You need a practice that can sustain who you are and what you do. And what you are, where you are in life. If you're living with someone in a toxic relationship, and you're in the same house, you need a super awesome self-therapy practice, and you need to exercise really good boundaries. That's another way to say this. You need to know boundaries. And maybe you can say in that system for a while, people come all the time, hey, I've done all the recovery, I'm depressed still, I'm angry still, I'm still craving, this thing doesn't work. But the thing is I can't know you. I don't know what music you listen to. But I guarantee you, if you're listening to sex, drugs, and rock and roll, your mind is consuming low energy stuff. You are what you listen to. Your mind recreates itself all the time. It recreates itself based on sensory input. Thank God for that, because recovery is all about putting good stuff in. Love and, this is not like this psychobabble stuff. You should practice good boundaries. It's as simple as do high energy things, consume high energy things, increase this and reduce this. And you go up. Hot air balloon. You want to go up, you turn on the heat. Go up, you turn down the heat, upward force goes less, you start drifting down. I'm trying to make it simple because it is simple. So if you do all the meetings, you do all the right things, but you keep looking at women, walking by at like the parts of them that draw your eye, you will drag yourself down, and you actually drag down the other person too. And you think it's fine because your wife separated and you're a single guy. It's not fine. That may make me unpopular. Pornography is $1 billion business, but I have rarely been successful in treating addiction. Unless that goes down, then the addiction stays. Your eyes is the worst of this. I'm going to tell you that very honestly. Your eyes is like the worst. A saint once was giving advice to young men, and his number one advice was just look at the floor. Just don't look anywhere. Just look at the floor. And if you have a need to look at someone, look at them. And then look at the only thing you need to look at. And then look at the floor. Try it. See how less bothered you are just by changing what you consume. Now, if you've been in a pattern of consumption, that's called addiction, dependence. If you've been in a pattern, वही चीज़ तुसी बार-बार कर दे, it's going to be an adjustment. If you watch Netflix all the time, you're going to go through some withdrawal. If you stop, it's going to be an adjustment. Your brain's used to eating garbage. You stop eating garbage, it's going to be like, what is this broccoli? Actually, if you feed it too much, that's that love thing we talked about, right? You're not used to getting any love in life, and someone just gives you a hug, you're not going to be like, oh, thank you. You're going to be like, you, get away from me. It's going to be very unfamiliar to your digestive system. So you're going to have to start in small amounts. You can't make all the changes all in a day. But what I'm trying to tell you is if you're stuck in recovery, really think about this. I have 6 senses. It is as simple as high energy or low energy. What am I consuming? If you're addicted to nicotine and you just can't stop smoking, it's the same darn thing. Smoking is just as simple as you need something to change your reality. You're not happy where you are, so you need to do something, and in order to change that. So that's the reality here. Is that if you're stuck, if you're not moving as fast as you like, if you're living in a treatment center and you're not moving as fast, examine this. Write down your senses. Make a list of the high energy things you do. Make a list of the low energy things you do. That includes the books that you read. Remember what I said about how your mind. Murder is illegal. A lot of people read Law and Order. Watches Law and Order. Hey, Law and Order, anyone watch Law and Order? Really? I used to be Law and Order junkie. I watched tons of Law and Order. It's all good stuff. Good cops catching the bad guys, right? Like it's stories like that. But it sure as heck did not put my energy up. Every night I'd have dreams about that stuff. Even though it's not bad messages. You consume, and so if you're plateaued, if you're stuck, if you're not where you want to be, with how much effort you're putting in, I don't know what you do on your phone. Every now and again, if you live at Nam Nuwas, we kind of explore the phone, and usually what we find is shopping and pornography. That's usually what we find. And news, actually. News is another kind of common addiction. So the thing is that, look at the news. News is high energy or low energy? Low energy.
Mostly negative.
How many hours a day do you spend looking at the news? And what the heck does it change? You read the same headline every day. Bhupinder was telling me, he's like, yeah, I stopped looking at news. I used to look at it every day, and I looked at it once a week. And it's the same headlines. It's that novelty thing, right? It's that novelty thing. So, summary of this. You are what you consume. You consume with your senses, not just what you eat, but it's also true of what you eat. You eat donuts, you're not going to think straight. If you have a meditative practice, eat a donut and see how easy it is to meditate. Eat broccoli and see how easy it is to meditate. You see. Prove it to yourself. You are what you consume. If you consume high energy things, you will not be plateaued. If you consume high energy things and low energy things, you'll be pulled in both directions and you will plateau. So that's where usually we see it. So don't plateau, don't shoot. You're doing all this good work, listening to this video or other things, or you do all this good stuff. So don't shoot yourself in the foot by listening to the negative music. That is very societally acceptable because society is sick. I'm going to say that. I don't mind if I get in trouble. Society is sick. The music is sick. The news is sick. Everyone's sick. People in recovery, thank goodness for you. So when people ask me, how can you do this work? How can I not? I get to work with authentic people trying their best. Yeah, they're not great, but really they're no better than you. And actually, they're probably far better than most people because they're trying. No, they have to try. But at least they're trying. I wish more of the world would try. And can. So that's why. Nam's mission is holistic recovery for all. My apologies if I offended anybody. Any questions, comments?
So you were saying about the people bringing down your energy by getting you there stuff. So like, is it also like sharing things with them, or sharing is okay, or sharing?
Yeah, good question. So it's always a mix of things. I think our time is up, but I'm going to just answer this question briefly. It all depends on what kind of stuff is being contained. So just ask yourself, you talk to this person, do you feel high energy or low energy afterwards? See where you're at. Okay, this person's coming. Okay, where am I at? 0 to 100, what's my energy? Ask your body, not your brain. Oh, I'm 80. Have the communication, and then where am I at? 0 to 100. Oh, I'm 20. Oh, what happened? And if you're low, then have a conversation. And if you, after time and again, you can't change that dynamic, think about why you have to be with that person. Why you have to talk to that person. You know? People don't come here with simple problems. They come here with, you know, joint custody and lots of things. And so we have to interact with negative people, but then we have to do so with boundaries and controls to limit how much negativity comes. And we have to limit how much negativity that goes. So this is, and change our circumstance. You can't, sometimes, you know, like you're in a fire pit and you're looking for an extinguisher. Maybe if the fire's small, you can put it out. But if it's like a flaming thing, like inferno, big fire, you gotta move, you gotta step out of the pit. You can't get okay staying in the pit. So that's my answer. So I thank you, everyone. We will take this up again next week. Oh, no, I'm away in India for the next couple of weeks, but we will take this up again.